Wrote on Facebook, the shocking attacks on Miss Berger and fellow Jewish Labour MP Louise Ellman highlighted the new channels by which anti-Semites spread their vile views. He goes on, the recent spate of incidents should serve as a wake-up call for anyone who thought the scourge of anti-Semitism had been defeated. The idea of Jewish families fearful of living here in Britain was unthinkable. Let's turn then to Mark Gardner, who's Director of Communications at Community Securities Trust. That's the CST group. They monitor anti-Semitism in the UK and indeed provide all sorts of initiative ideas and direct help for the protection of synagogues and old people's homes and all sorts of events. Joins me now. How bad is it, Mark?
Hi there, Nick. Well, it's not as bad now as it was in the summer when things really went off the scale, I would say, and the Jewish community fell under a huge amount of pressure. And I think it's quite obvious that Ed Miliband has discussed that with many Jewish people whom he would know. He's heard how the community feels. You've also seen it in newspapers and elsewhere. Jewish people, not the kind of people who usually go on and on about Israel or about anti-Semitism or anything like that, but they're saying to the public, look, I've never felt this way before. I thought that, to be honest, when some Jews spoke about anti-Semitism, that they were going a bit over the top. But do you know what? Because of what's happened this summer, I now agree with them. And we're hearing this at CST, just anecdotally, the number of people who said to us during the summer months, I've never felt like this before. I didn't realize anti-Semitism was so bad. I thought it was all over and done with. But people have said this to me, people have said that to me. How am I supposed to put it back into its box? And I think it's good that you're covering it again.
What sort of numbers can we put to this, Mark? What sort of level of incidents have we been looking at, and hopefully what are we coming down to?
Well, basically we had as many in July and August as we had in the whole of last year.
Wow. And
we had more in July of this year than we had in the first 6 months of this year. So considerable increases. In absolute numbers, we had 314 anti-Semitic incidents in July. We had over 200 in August. By the end of the year, it will very likely be the worst year on record, and it might go through 1,000 for the first time. That's all manner of things. It ranges from attacks on social media through to violence.
Lastly, the word that's being used in this article is that Jewish families are frightened for their children's future. Is frightened the right word?
I think it is. When we talk about anti-Semitism, most people tend to associate anti-Semitism with the Holocaust for natural reasons, and I think therefore some people might mistakenly think that when Jews talk about anti-Semitism that we mean that another Holocaust is imminent. That's absolutely not what we're saying. We're saying, look, we're worried that if things continue in this direction, the direction that things have headed down actually since the year 2000, then what is it going to look like for our kids?
Mark Gardner, thank you. Mark is Director of Communications at CST Community Security Trust. Check it out. They'll monitor and indeed try and work against anti-Semitism in the UK.